What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA, and yeah, as expected, the new Miles Morales movie, Across the Spiderverse, did very, very well in its opening weekend. As you can see, Across the Spiderverse swinging to a huge $113 to $120 million box office opening, and then, of course, the other two films, Race Swap, Blackwash, Little Mermaid is coming in at number 2, and then a new horror film, The Boogeyman, is coming in at number 3, okay? But yeah, this was to be expected, all right? It's going to have a huge box office opening. It was going to take first place, all right? So beating The Little Mermaid isn't really a surprise. But what is a surprise is how well this Spider-Verse movie did. You can see on this headline by Deadline, it posted the best opening day of 2023 to date with $51 million, and then the 3-day is standing at $113 million so far, okay? And the weekend is young, all right? We're only in the middle of Saturday. We have a whole rest of the weekend to go to see how this thing will ultimately finish up. But yeah, still a great start for this film. Same thing I said about Little Mermaid last week. It's a great start, okay? But these days in the box office, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Okay, because look, this thing right here, $51 million, that's great. $113 million is great. But will it make that across the course of its entire box office run? That's the only thing that matters, okay? These big names, oh, we did all of this in the opening weekend. Who cares, all right? We saw what Ant-Man 3 did in its opening weekend. Ant-Man 3 had the largest opening weekend of its entire franchise, and it made less money than Ant-Man 1 and 2. So who cares? Who cares how big you open, all right? It's not how you start, it's how you finish, all right? And that's going to be the big question for The Little Mermaid. How are they going to finish? So far, this is including Friday's numbers, all right? $236 million gross at the domestic and the international box office. That's where it's at. And we knew it was going to be an uphill climb for this film. We've been talking about this, okay? It has a murderer's row of competition coming up this month, the entire month of June, all right? It's going to be murderer's row for this film, all right? And it has a $250 million budget, and now we know it has a $150 million marketing campaign, okay? They actually told us what those numbers are, all right? And so it's very, very easy to figure out how to break even on this thing, okay? You have to take the total spend, all right? What was totally spent on the movie, which is $400 million, $250 million plus $150 million, that equals $400 million. And then you multiply it times 2, okay? Because they split the box office down the middle. Theaters get one half, studios get the other half. So this thing needs to make $800 million to break even, okay? And it's already had its first weekend. First weekend is always the biggest weekend. That's out of the way, all right? So if this thing has long legs, okay? No pun intended on the Little Mermaid story, but if it has long legs, yeah, it might not matter if it stumbles in week 2, all right? But how long will this thing have to stay in theaters? You're talking about at least a couple of months, okay? This thing is going to have to stay in theaters throughout the month of June and July, all right, to even hope to get back its money. And we're just at the beginning of June, okay? And like I said, there's a lot of competition. Let's check that out real quick. All right, so as you can see, all right, Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse, that just dropped yesterday, okay, June 2nd. Next week, we got Transformers Rise of the Beasts, okay? That comes out next week, June 9, all right? After that, we have The Flash, all right, June 16. And another film that's coming out that I did put up here is Elemental, all right? And then that's going to be, you know, the next Disney animated film that's coming out. That's going to be some competition for all of this stuff, okay? Big animated Pixar film. I don't know how it's going to do. It doesn't look like it's going to do a lot of money, but it's definitely going to steal some of the box office, okay? And then finally, at the end of June, June 23rd really had a lot of kind of a mixed bag of different things, cornucopia of nonsense, all right? But it does have some interesting films, just nothing that's going to be a big standout film. I think Asteroid City is going to be solid, all right? But then you have Indiana Jones on June 30, all right? So Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny coming on June 30. This is just the month of June where all of these films are coming out. We haven't even gotten to July, all right? July is a whole other story. But as you can see with this lineup, The Little Mermaid will have to stay in theaters at least 2 months and do very well, going up against competition every single week. And it's already had the biggest weekend it's going to have. It's not going to have a bigger weekend than that, all right? So if it needs to do $800 million to break even, you do the math, all right? You do the math and you tell me how this thing is going to do. But in the meanwhile, let's go ahead and check out how the Spider-Verse did and see what's going on with that. Across the Spider-Verse opening day is also the third highest for an animated film after The Incredibles 2, 71.2 million, and Finding Dory, 54.7 million. The sequel's day one is also the best ever for a Sony Pictures animation. Even though rivals believe that the 3-day is north of 125, there's still a concern about the front-loadedness with fanboys and a greater ease today, which will get Across the Spider-Verse to 113.5 million. Talking about the pitch tricky trajectory, one distribution store says it's an animated film, it's not an animated film, it's a Marvel film, it's not a Marvel film. Yeah, it has all of this stuff kind of going for it and going against it, all right, because you're not really sure where to put it, all right? Does it really fall within the animated film category? Does it feel like it, all right? Does it fall within a Marvel film? Well, yeah, but no, all right? But nevertheless, people are excited about it. But yeah, a lot of people were excited about this film, okay? Into the Spider-Verse did very well, you know, from a word of mouth standpoint, people were looking forward to it. I didn't think Into the Spider-Verse was that good, okay? I'm one of these weird people that just stood on the outside of that. I know a lot of people liked it. I was just one of these guys. I was just like, whatever, okay? It's not that good, okay? It's not what everybody was saying it was, but, you know, if you liked it, hey, I have no problem with that. They're saying, yeah, it's getting a 93% positive post-track audience, okay, with an 82% recommend among general audiences. That's really good. Still guide leaning, 63%, 61% between 18 and 34. The biggest turnout between 18 to 24 with 40%. Very strong diversity demos, okay? So yeah, you got a film that's playing very well to its target demographic, okay? And you can see that it's doing well. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk that if you actually just pay attention to your target demographic and you make something for them, all right? And you stop trying to make stuff for people that ain't really coming to see it, except your little woke friends in Hollywood, look how well your film does, all right? Isn't that amazing? And here's the thing about family entertainment, all right? Family entertainment right now is doing great. Super Mario Brothers did great, all right? 1.2 billion. You can't say nothing but great things about what it did for family films, all right? And then, of course, you have this, you know, Across the Spider-Verse film. That looks great so far, so good, okay? And honestly, even this film, The Little Mermaid, all right, had a decent, solid box office last weekend, okay? But like I said earlier, it ain't about the opening weekend anymore, all right? It's about the legs. Do you have the legs to take you all the way across the finish line? Or are you going to stumble after week one? Or maybe after week two, okay? And then that's it. That's all you're going to do, because now you got all of this other competition coming in. We saw the competition that The Little Mermaid is going to have to run through, okay? And it doesn't look like it's going to be able to make it, especially in this second weekend. It's only expected to do maybe about $40 million. I think it said 40 million. Yeah, this is on the Hollywood Reporter article. The Little Mermaid will dock at second place in its sophomore weekend with an estimated 40 million. So if this thing is only going to get 40 million, what's left for this after this weekend with all of that other competition that's coming up? It's going to be a bloodbath for this film. And again, when we're looking at what it's done so far, yeah, only $236 million worldwide. Again, the problem with this film isn't really the domestic number, it's the international number, okay? They need this thing to do better on this front, and so far it looks like the international audiences have just completely rejected this film, 100%. So the question now becomes, how long will this film stay in theaters, okay? Will it have the legs? Will it have the staying power? What's the competition looking like, and how is that competition doing? All right, everybody's fighting for the box office dollar, okay? How well is this film going to do? It needs those strong legs. It needed a strong word of mouth, all right? And to me, the word of mouth that they put out there on Rotten Tomatoes, that isn't the word of mouth that everybody's talking about, all right? They're not talking about the confirmed, verified critics and audiences, okay? They're talking about the all audience score, and that all audience score is still sitting at 56%, all right? 56%. All the verified fat cats have come out and tried to do everything in their living power to boost this thing up, and it's still sitting at 56%. Not good enough, all right? That's not good enough. So staying power is the key. The word of mouth is the key. We saw what it did for Guardians. Yeah, as you can see, Guardians of the Galaxy, it needed 750 to break even. So currently, right now, it's in the black, okay? It's in the black, 752.9, so almost $3 million, I guess you could say. Hey, they made $3 million off this film so far. And then however long it lasts in the theaters, they're just stacking up money at this point. But it's done the job of at least breaking even. And now they can, you know, see what it does profitability-wise, how far they can go. And can it get to 800 million? Who knows? All right. But that's the whole thing. These films, they spent $250 million on these films. For them to just barely scrape past break even is not good. That's not what you expect. All right. You expect a film like this to do $1 billion. All right. So now you've made $250 million off of this joint. All right. And that's why I don't understand these budgets. Why are they spending $250 million on these things? They spent $200 million on that Elemental film, which means that it's going to have to get somewhere in the $700 million range to break even. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, but nevertheless, that's where Disney is at. So you can see Guardians is all right, but the Little Mermaid's got some work to do, all right? And the question is, how long does it stay in theaters? Because look, with these budgets, and the amount of money that these films need to make, you're going to need an international box office and you're going to need legs, okay? You're going to need both of those. So how long will this thing stay in theaters, and what will the international do? What's the competition looking like worldwide, okay? Everybody's talking about, oh, you know, Indiana Jones is coming up and that's going to be a big film, okay? Maybe it will be, but it's going to have its own problems. Meanwhile, The Little Mermaid is probably going to end up losing money, all right? So now we're talking about how much money is it going to lose, okay? It needs another, what? 570 million roughly to break even. Do you think it's going to get another 570 in the next 2 months? I don't think so. Okay. So now you're looking at, yeah, this thing won't have the staying power. I don't think it'll have the staying power, honestly, to get past Indiana Jones. Okay. It's not going to make it past June 30 and doing well. All right. Doing amazing numbers. All right. But that's my opinion. You know, we'll see what happens. But you guys tell me in the comments, what do you think The Little Mermaid is going to make overall box office wise? All right. Where does this thing land? Because now I think we're just talking about how much money it's going to lose. All right. Is it going to lose money? How much money is it going to lose? Is it going to lose 100 million? Is it going to lose 200 million? 250? 3? All right. I'm thinking this is going to fall somewhere in the sixes. Okay. If they're lucky, it's going to fall in the sixes, which means it's only going to lose somewhere between 100 to a $200 million, you know, but we'll have to see anyway, folks. What do you guys think? Go ahead, jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and your opinions on that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.